Good morning. I look tired this morning, but that's okay. I'm tired lately. Sleep has been a little bit hard to come by, and for all of us. And I think after the past 21 months of trying to dodge death and then finally surrendering to it, it just takes something out of you. So we're doing okay. We've got family coming in to help, and we're finding our way on this side of Timmy's passing. Usually these posts that I do, I'm just kind of chewing on something and posting about it, talking about it in this way. It gives me a chance to kind of think it through more and talk about it out loud. So the topic that I've been chewing on lately is the topic of pain and suffering. And one of the comments that I've heard from a few people is, why do we if there's a God, then why do we suffer so much? And if God were loving God, surely we wouldn't have to suffer in the way that my husband did or that anyone does. And so what's been going through my mind lately and heart is people, beings, Jesus for one, and other spiritual masters who have intentionally kind of walked the path of pain and suffering. And they did so for a purpose. And when I think about the purpose that they suffered for, I think, is it that God's not a loving God? Does God intentionally want us to just suffer for no apparent reason? Is it a form of punishment or torture? Or and when I think back on all of the conversations that I had with Tim and the journey that we traveled together, the pain was real and the pain was not fun. But the growth that happened because of having to figure out how to overcome the pain, having to figure out how to live with the pain, how to rise above the pain, how to love in spite of the pain, how to allow the pain to kind of birth us into a bigger experience of compassion for people all over the planet who are in pain. In that, pain had served a tremendous purpose. And what I feel in Tim is that he learned a tremendous amount of lesson in the pain. Did he have to have pain to learn those lessons? I don't know, but I know that he did learn through it. I know that he did find ways to both love and also allow love in to a degree that I'm quite certain he had never allowed in before. He had to surrender control in a whole lot of ways. And I think surrendering control is like one of the hardest things for us to do as human beings. Surrendering control, surrendering our freedom. Tim had to learn to do both of those things big time. And it wasn't easy. It took a lot to surrender control and to surrender his freedom. But over time, as he wrestled with just how to do that so that he could go on living, he really, his love became bigger in doing so. And what I could feel in him towards the end was just this absolute surrender. And I don't know if there was like, I think some of the posts that are some of the comments that I also receive are, you know, recommendations for different treatments, as if the course of treatment that he pursued failed. And he pursued a whole lot of treatment. I mean, he had pursued a whole lot of alternative treatments. He did a lot of dietary modifications. He did fasting. He saw acupuncturists and chiropractors and naturopaths and energy workers. And he also, you know, did the standard course of the route of, not standard, it was by no means standard, but a very cutting edge form of chemotherapy. He did stem cell transplant. So he really threw everything that he had into the arena to try to fight this, to be able to stay here with us, to stay with the things that he knows and loves, to stay with his family, to continue pursuing and doing the things that he loves here with us. But near the end, he really surrendered to the fact that maybe it wasn't in the cards for him to stay. And, you know, you can look at that as in one of two ways. It's either a failure on the part of the meds, a failure on his part for not pursuing the right course of treatment, a failure for not doing the right things to begin with that caused him to get sick in the first place. We can go back in time and look at all of well, what if he had done this? What if he had done that? What if he hadn't done this? What if he hadn't been exposed to that? Maybe he wouldn't have had to suffer. And maybe those things are true. But you know, I think for me, when I look around at the number of species that are suffering, that have no voice, the number of beings on our planet that we share this planet with who are going extinct by the minute, they suffer silently often, and pretty soon their numbers dwindle to a point where suddenly they're gone. I think for me, one of the things that I really learned in a huge way through watching my husband is that why is it different for us? Like, why should it be different? And if I think when human beings suffer, because we are human beings, we see it differently than when other beings suffer. When human beings begin to lose their lives in greater numbers because certain diseases take them down, it really begs the question of, are our numbers going to go extinct in the same way that other life forms are going extinct here on our planet? And if we can really take that in and wrestle with that question and understand that we're really not that different, we're really very much the same, that maybe we will take different actions. Maybe we will look more at our own part in the environmental crisis and make choices that are different than if just other beings have to endure the suffering. So, you know, when someone that you love passes, you certainly go through all of the, like, what if you had tried this? What if this hadn't happened? What if he had, you know, hit the jackpot and gotten the healing like other people have gotten? I think we find peace in death when we can find purpose in death. And I really think that if we all look look for the purpose in anyone's passing. It's there somewhere, hidden in all of the uncomfortable things about death and the uncomfortable things about pain and someone's final days. Timmy and I have had to wrestle a lot with what that purpose is, and we've had conversations with our girls, and I think on some level the girls and I feel very much at peace right now. We're exhausted. Sleep has been hard. Things are very different in our home. But on some level, there's a profound sense of peace. And I think that peace comes with Tim understanding that near the end, he really had made peace with his passing, with his death, and he wanted to stay if he could. He wanted to avoid death if he could, but near the end, he just kept saying, I'm ready. And he didn't say that so loudly to the girls. How do you tell your children that you're ready to go and you're ready to not be with them any longer? I think he knew that it wouldn't be the end for him, and it wouldn't be the end of his time with them, and that his spirit would live on in different ways. And he was at peace with that, and he knew that in his physical form, in the way that he was kind of existing towards the end, that was not a form of existence that allowed him to really be present to them in the ways that he wanted to be as a father and as a being who loved them. So when I look at the spiritual masters who intentionally walk the path of pain and suffering, who intentionally inflicted pain upon themselves at times, for their own spiritual growth and evolution, and it allowed them to come closer to a being of love that they wanted to draw closer to. And I think pain puts us in a position to be absolutely dependent upon others and upon a being that we can surrender to and seek a kind of help and comfort from. That, we don't often go there when things are feeling good, when life is wonderful, when the earth is serving our needs absolutely perfectly. And these are just things that I wrestle with, that I'm chewing on, that I'm contemplating because of comments that I've received about, if God were a loving God, then, surely this is evidence that God doesn't exist. And that is not at all how I feel. It's not my experience. It's not what I observed. I think that we can very much go through times of suffering, and our planet is going through a huge time of suffering and pain right now, and evolution. And I don't think that means that there's, that the spiritual realm, and that, I don't feel like that means we've been abandoned in any way. I feel like we've done a whole lot to inflict pain and suffering on our planet, and how can we not also experience pain and suffering because of that? And I don't think that it's a form of punishment. I think it's just things are in a state of decay, and we're all experiencing that together. I think we also all have an opportunity to seek a different kind of dependence that doesn't require the stuff, the manufacturing of stuff that's causing the breakdown of so much. And I think when we seek that kind of dependence on that's not on stuff, we come out better. We get filled up with a kind of love that is available to all of us, and it's free. Yeah. So that's what I'm chewing on this morning. Thanks for being with me and with us throughout this journey. Thank you for your comments, for your compassion, your kindness, your just willingness to witness our journey, and your transparency around some of your own journey and experience of pain and discomfort and death. And yeah, I'm just grateful for each and every one of you for tuning in and being here. All right, peace.